Alright everybody, our last and final food stop is the Paalaa Bakery and Mini Mart. And I was introduced to the Mini Mart side by a friend a long time ago, probably when I was in my 20s. We picked up some fried chicken and a musubi and went to the 4x4 area of Mokuleia, and just chilled by those little tide pools. It's a great place to just eat and sit and chill. So this is their fried chicken. They're famous for. It's nice and crispy. It's local style where there's not much batter. There is a little bit of flour on it, but it's fried to a crisp. More of the crispy fat in the skin that makes it crisp. And if you get their combo, you get a musubi. This is not a Spam one, it's just a rice ball, pretty much. So we'll dig in. Hopefully I don't make a mess in my car. If you can see over there, I'm at the beach. It is beautiful and there's benches everywhere, but it is windy as beep. So all my food would fly around, and I don't want the sand blowing in my food, so we'll eat it here in the car. This is the crispy, delicious skin. It's already pre-made, and they're all sitting in that counter, but it's still so crispy. And when he serves it to you, it's still piping hot. Delicious, and very friendly service there. Nicely seasoned. Just a simple salt and pepper type of taste. Nothing too fancy, but really delicious. You can see the inside is very juicy. It's not dry and just fried to perfection. Delicious. Now let's take a taste of this rice ball. This musubi goes really well with just the fried chicken. It's the perfect beach food and it's pretty affordable. So definitely check it out if you're ever in the area. It's near Haleiwa, so it's worth to go off the beaten path a little. So this is just simple rice and the nori, which is the seaweed around it. Take a bite of that, and you take a bite of your chicken. So good. So I'm gonna have to eat my snow puppy outside because it is full of powdered sugar. Super windy outside, hopefully you can hear me. But sugar's flying everywhere. This is what it looks like. Super delicious. Look at that cream. Powdered sugar is getting all over my microphone. Nice and flaky. And there's the custard in the middle with a little bit of chocolate on the top and the powdered sugar. Delicious. So that was my terrible review of that snow puffy from Paalaa Bakery. Definitely, they're famous for it. Definitely try it. I know somebody that's going to be a Grinch that's going to say they were closed down once and had a red pass due to roaches or something, but that was so long ago. Anywhere you go, it's going to be dirty. You would be amazed how many kitchens I've walked through from work. I don't work in the cooking industry, but I've walked through some restaurants, including big names, and they're disgusting. So, whatever. Ignorance is bliss. Those snow puffies are awesome. They are just flaky, and the creamy custard inside is so delicious, and it's nice and cool. They're actually cold, so the cold custard is quite refreshing on this hot day. So if you ever are in the area, definitely pick up some snow puffies. They have other items as well, such as like little maple things, turnovers, donuts and such, and they sell guava jams and jellies and cookies. So check them out. It's a cute little bakery, and check out the Mini Mart for some delicious bentos and chicken and sushi. This is going to fill me up to give me more energy, and we're going to go to a interesting cemetery next, and that'll be our last stop. So hold on. So here we are at the cemetery. It was very hard to find. There's no signs, and a lot of signs say no trespassing, but I asked a man if it was okay to cross through, and he said as long as you're going to the cemetery, it's fine. So here is the entrance with the aloha sign and the angels, and it's actually very beautiful. Look at this. Very, very vast. It's my first time here, and I am lost. Let's go take a look of some people that are on my list of interesting people here. So I'm here at Pu'uiki Cemetery, as you can see behind me, and it's where generations of mostly Waialua sugar plantation workers and their family members were buried. And as previously mentioned, there are many people that immigrated to Hawaii from different countries to work on the sugar cane plantations. But one thing that makes Waialua special is that it's Hawaii's first Korean immigrants that came here to work at the sugar plantation and the mill, and they're buried here. And I didn't know that. And on January 13th, 1903, the first Korean immigrants to the islands, they sailed here on the SS Gaelic. And the Korean Chamber of Commerce installed a commemorative statue designed by a Korean artist named Bo Chan Park. And it was to mark the centennial of Korean immigration to the United States in 2003. And this was recognized by President George W. Bush. There are about 36 marked known Korean graves in Pu'uiki Cemetery. There may be more than that, but some are unmarked or unidentified. Most graves were segregated plots by ethnicity. I really like this. I mean, I don't read any Korean, but when I went to Korea, you can tell this is the very old school Korean art. And it kind of meshes in with, like, I see the little hat that they might have wore, or like it's also like a sweatband, a rolled piece of towel that they might have worn while working on the plantations. Pretty cool. Very nice statue. And I don't know any of their stories, but like I said, they had separated plots from the cemetery by ethnicity. So I'm assuming this is the Japanese section due to their names. You've got Hayashi, Kunikichi Owaya, some in Japanese writing, Su Nakashima, and Sato. Here's a grave of somebody Korean, our beloved father Choi Byung-suk, September 1st, 1883 to August 29th, 1948. Looks like a fairly new stone, but like I said, the Korean Chamber of Commerce and other Koreans in the community still take care of this grave and keep it pretty nice. It's nicely trimmed, no overgrown grass. It's really nice to see. Here's the Korean side. Hard to see, but it says Chi Gu Kim. The moss is growing on it, so hard to see. And lots in Korean writing, so don't understand what it says. Some in English. There's a big one in memory of Sun Vu Chai, born 1912, died in 1925. Here's another Kim, Marion Kim. Hopefully you can hear me because it's windy. So it seems like all the graves in the corner near the beach is right there. I'm not sure if you can see, but you can see the waves like right there. It's a really pretty view. It must have been even prettier without the tall grass blocking the way. The Korean people are on this side of the cemetery. And that's pretty creepy, but there's 2 dead birds. That is really gross. I don't know where they fell out of this, probably this tree over here. And I'm not sure who this is, but this is a massive stone on the Korean side, so maybe they were somebody of importance during the plantation days. And I have a wide lens, so you can't really see, but look at, if you can see the mountains over there, and just a lot of trees surrounding it. So you wouldn't even know there's a cemetery here, and it goes through this private gravel road. And like I showed you earlier, if you turn around, there's the ocean with the waves. Really peaceful with the wind blowing through the trees. And I have a wide lens so you can't really see, but look at, if you can see the mountains over there and just a lot of trees surrounding it. So you wouldn't even know there's a cemetery here, and it goes through this private gravel road. And like I showed you earlier, if you turn around, there's the ocean with the waves. Really peaceful with the wind blowing through the trees. So this side is the Waialua Children's Cemetery, and it's near the Makai side on the opposite end of where the Korean side is. And there's lots of children here, unfortunately. It says our beloved son Ernest Tiano, and born in 1937 to 1944. Died really young. And it had been said that there was a sickness that had spread through the community around the 1920s that had spread through Waialua town. That and plantation life was also tough, not only for adults but the children as well, in terms of medical care and hygiene. Here's a wooden cross. There's no inscription on it at all. And then this one's stone fell apart. But here's some of the children that are buried here. Catalina Cuesta. Can't see the date, but there is a stuffed animal there and a toy left for her over there. And here is another one. I don't want to move anything to be disrespectful, so it's totally adorned with toys and baby toys across, and joy put in the gravestone. And maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, or some of the stones, like I said, you can't see the inscriptions, but some notable stories from some children are Richard Antonio Nunes Jr. died at the age of 12 to 13 years old from an explosion on his grandfather's ranch. It was thought to be a grenade that went off by accident. Another notable child that passed away was Freddie Bono Gil Kim. He was 15 years old when he passed away. He was from Waialua Camp JT5. He was one of 6 Waialua children and 1 U.S. Army soldier to die in a car accident off of Farrington Highway when a U.S. Army weapon carrier was traveling on Farrington Highway, speeding when it hit a parked car, jumped the curb, and rolled over 7 juvenile bystanders that had been standing outside of a store when they had just bought their candy and soda. 1 child had lived, and the rest died at the scene or at a nearby hospital. Man, I really wish I could find Freddie's grave, because I thought that story was really interesting. But this cemetery is pretty big. I mean, there's a lot of people here, and some of the stones you can't really read, so maybe we'll bump into him as we keep walking. So for Freddie, here's an excerpt of an article that was posted in the Honolulu Advertiser on July 4th, 1944. You can read it. It's not the original article, but it's the meat of the article and what was written. You can also see the different wordage they used in journalism back in the day. A little bit not too sensitive with their death car, which I found very interesting. And yeah, very interesting choice of words used. So you can pause it and read it. Hopefully you can see it. And on this corner, more Mauka. You can see it's a little bit more elaborate. This is the Portuguese side of the cemetery. Lots of big crosses and such, and big headstones. This one's interesting. It just says R.I.P. Can't really read the name, but it says born and dead 1933. It doesn't have a born date. Kind of looks like one of those costume props you would buy at the Halloween store or something. Not to be disrespectful, but the wording those days were a little bit different. But lots of different Portuguese people here. Got some Perrys, Peters, Vieiras, Souzas, Santiagos. All of them worked on the plantations. Oliveira. This is interesting. It says Frederick Ryer, Corporal 1 in the Hawaii Infantry, 1894 to 1941. So that was before we became a state, and it was actually the military for the Hawaiian monarchy. Very interesting. This is the grave of Antone Ignacio Souza, born in 1873, died in 1951. And he was born in the Azores Islands of Portugal, and he was section overseer of the Waialua mill. This is Manuel Ignacio Souza Sr., born in 1877 to 1952. He was also an overseer of the Waialua sugar plantation and was from the Azores, Portugal. So I noticed with the family members, they didn't really have plots together. They're scattered everywhere. So here's some Souzas that I went over. But there's one other Souza that was the first Souza to come. And maybe he's also a stone that's way too old. But there's a bunch of Souzas back there as well with those black stones. But Francisco Souza was from Madeira, the Portuguese island. He arrived in Hawaii on June 13th, 1884 on the SS City of Paris, and it took 74 days to get from Madeira to Hawaii via ship back in those days. There's a whole bunch of Souzas here, but not Francisco, so I can't show his gravestone. Here's Bartolome Salas, and over there is another Salas. But I can't also find any of the people I wanted to see. I wanted to see John Cruz Salas. He was from Guam, was a train engineer for the Waialua plantation, and he died in a freak accident involving a truck and a train car on the plantation. I was looking all over for a Shibuya, but this is the only one I can find, and interestingly enough, she's in the Portuguese section. But I'm looking for a Chiokichi Shibuya. What I found interesting about him is that someone posted his old selective service registration card, posted for everyone to see on the Find a Grave website. But I'm not sure if he's related to Mary at all. But I could not find his gravestone, even in the Japanese section, unless it's inscribed in Japanese. Here's another Shibuya, Fumi. But still no Chiokichi. Trying to look for him. Here's Donato Albios, born in 1890 and also died in 1982. Also lived a very long life, and I like this picture. It's almost like artsy. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not totally realistic. I like the colors in it. Here's an old stone, Faustina Bala Sogobia, and there's her old photo. Born in 1898 and died in 1946. So this side where you walk in, kind of Mackay, if you turn Mackay, some of the stones I just showed is seems like the Filipino side. And you got names like Bueno, Llanos. Over here we have Dayakos. So these are all the Filipino families and workers. And there's lots of these with broken headstones that are unmarked. Unfortunately, we don't know who they are. Here's a super small old metal gate, all rusted from the ocean water, and a stone that's pretty old as well. Can't really see it. Looks like it had fallen over. I think it says Joseph Nunez. Do you hear that creaking? I don't know what it is, or if it's the trees, but it's been creaking all this time, and it's also kind of creepy. But anyway, that's pretty much my walkthrough of the Waialua Pu'uiki Cemetery. Very interesting. Obviously I can't show everybody, but they are all important people during the Waialua sugar mill times, and a nice piece of history. So hopefully you enjoyed my Waialua little tour of this very, very nice, pleasant, laid-back town. That's my monthly history walkthrough for you. So if you like this, press the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I do these once a month other than the food things. And if you know a little bit more about Waialua, because I'm not from here, definitely chime in the comment section. And I'll see you again next time. Peace out.